Let's be real for a second. The word grammar probably brings back memories of dusty old rulebooks from school, but I want you to forget all that. Today, we're not talking about rules, we're talking about tools. We're going to open up a creative toolkit that will help make your writing more powerful, more persuasive, and yeah, even a little bit musical. So let's dive in. So think about your own writing for a moment. Does it have a rhythm that pulls your reader along? Or does it kind of drone? The difference between writing that sings and writing that drones is the secret to keeping your audience hooked from the first word to the last. And that's exactly what we're going to break down today. Okay, just listen to this. This sentence has 5 words. Here are 5 more words. 5-word sentences are fine, but several together become monotonous. Oof, you can almost feel your brain starting to tune out, can't you? It's so flat, so repetitive, it just kills any and all engagement. This is the drone. This is what we want to avoid. All right, now let's try that again, but with a little life in it. Now listen, I vary the sentence length and I create music. The writing sings, it has a pleasant rhythm, a lilt, a harmony. It's like night and day, right? It feels completely different. It's dynamic, it's engaging, and it makes you actually want to see what comes next. That right there is the power of sentence variety. So the big question is, how do we get from that drone to that song? Well, it's all about mastering the music of writing, learning how to create rhythm and flow. And to do that, you need the right set of tools. So let's open up that toolkit. Inside, we've got 4 fundamental sentence types. Think of these as your primary instruments. You're going to use them to control the pace, the flow, and the rhythm of everything you write, from a quick email to a long-form article. And here they are. These 4 structures are basically all you need. You've got the simple sentence for that punchy clarity, a compound sentence to create a nice, balanced rhythm, complex sentences, that's where you get into nuance and hierarchy, and then the compound complex, that's your powerhouse for those really detailed arguments. Mastering this mix is the absolute key to sophisticated writing. Simple sentences, think of them like a spotlight. They hit hard, they make a point. They create this punchy, staccato rhythm that can build tension or just deliver a really clear, powerful statement. When you want a key point to be absolutely unforgettable, you use a simple sentence. Now, a compound sentence is all about balance. It connects 2 ideas that have equal weight. It's like putting 2 things on a seesaw. The cat chased the mouse, and it slipped away. You're telling the reader that these 2 things are equally important to the story, and it creates this really nice, smooth, connected flow. Complex sentences. This is where you start adding real depth and context. The key word here is hierarchy. That first part, because the market is volatile, can't really stand on its own. It needs the main idea to make sense. This structure is absolutely perfect for building an argument because you're explaining the why behind the what. And finally, we have the powerhouse, the compound complex sentence. It really combines everything we've just talked about. It uses a dependent clause for some context when her roommates are finished eating, and then it links 2 main ideas together. This is your go-to for weaving together really sophisticated, multifaceted arguments into a single, elegant sentence. Okay, so we've got our sentence types down, but just like in music, the transitions between the notes really matter. I mean, one clumsy connection can completely break the flow and you'll lose your reader. So let's talk about connecting our ideas with real precision. Okay, let's talk about the dreaded comma splice. I see this error all the time, and honestly, it's an instant credibility killer. It happens when you try to jam 2 complete sentences together using only a comma. The problem is a comma just isn't strong enough for that job. It creates this weak, clunky connection that just feels unprofessional. But here's the good news. Fixing it is so easy. You've got 4 fantastic options. You can use a period for a clean, hard stop. You could use a semicolon if the ideas are closely related. You can add a conjunction, one of the fanboys, to clarify the relationship. Or you can just restructure the whole sentence. 4 powerful tools for one very common problem. So now we're moving beyond just fixing mistakes and into the really fun part, style. Think of this punctuation power trio as having their own distinct personalities. The semicolon creates the smooth conversational link. The colon is very direct, very authoritative, like it's saying, pay attention to this. And the M dash, it's dramatic. It's perfect for an interruption or adding a lot of emphasis. Mastering these is how you really elevate your tone. Look, great writing isn't just about sounding good. It has to be crystal clear. The most beautiful rhythm in the world can't save a sentence that no one understands. So let's zoom in on clarity and the kind of logic that makes your writing easy to follow and professionally sound.
Subject-verb agreement is really the bedrock of a clear sentence, and the main trick is just to find the true subject. In that first example, it's tempting to look at products, but you have to ignore that whole phrase. The real subject is quality, which is singular, so the quality is high. It's that simple logic that makes sure your sentences are built correctly and make perfect sense.
And then we have the dangling modifier. This is where grammar can get unintentionally hilarious. After reading the report, the coffee was cold. Wait, what? The coffee read the report? Of course not, but that's what the sentence implies. This kind of error might seem small, but it instantly undermines your credibility because it just sounds absurd. This slide is such a brilliant illustration of how a couple of commas can totally change the meaning of a sentence. On the left, with no commas, "who live in Chicago" is essential information. It tells us which cousins we're talking about. But on the right, the commas turn that same phrase into a little aside, just extra info. It implies that all my cousins are coming, and oh, by the way, they happen to live in Chicago. So how can you remember when information is essential and needs the word that? Well, here's a fantastic little memory trick. Just think to yourself, thanks, I needed that. If the information is truly needed for the sentence to make sense, chances are you're going to use the word that. Okay, we're in the home stretch. You've structured your sentences, you've checked all your logic. Now it's time for that final polish. This section is all about catching those sneaky, invisible errors that spell checkers and other automated tools will almost always miss. Homophones, words that sound the same but mean totally different things. They're a classic trap, but simple memory tricks can save you every time. For its versus its, just try to say it is in its place. If it works, you need the apostrophe. And my personal favorite for affect versus effect is raven. Just remember affect is a verb and effect is a noun. So easy. And finally, let's talk about proofreading like an actual pro. First, always read your work aloud. I'm serious. Your ears will catch clunky phrasing that your eyes will just skim right over. Second, try reading it backward from the last sentence to the first. It sounds weird, I know, but it forces your brain to focus on individual words, not the story. And finally, try doing a single error pass where you hunt for just one type of mistake at a time. It's incredibly effective. And there you have it. We've covered everything from the big picture rhythm of your writing all the way down to the tiniest comma. The thing to remember is that these aren't just rules to be memorized. They are powerful tools for creativity, for clarity, and for connection. So the only question left is, how are you going to use them to find your voice and make your writing sing?